Hey guys, welcome to today's video. Where we left off before with the LS350Z. As you can see, it's all in here nicely. I was talking about that last piece here. We actually got a piece welded on there, NPT fitting, and then that way I can put this on here as well and thread it in for the steam port, and it will go right in between like this and then connect to this hose here. So that's good, got that all welded up. Also, today I ordered a blue filter to kind of go in with everything else. The green kind of clashes with everything, but today I'm going to do a cardboard cutout here and make my own heat shield. So this whole section is kind of dedicated to cold air, and it keeps the heat away from the headers here. You know, keep as much heat down, and I'll put a nice seal along the top here, and I'll make it really nice out of aluminum. And try and seal it the best I can above here. Sort of something like this here. This car's got this nice block out plate here. Intake comes right in there through here. So I'm gonna try and stimulate this design here for that car, so it always breathes in nice cold air. Engine air temperatures that are really hot going into an engine will usually kill an engine, and before you know it, you're gonna be down power, everything else, and it's just not good. Always be sucking in the cold air. It helps the engine breathe for sure. So we're gonna be putting that piece on here. Put that fitting on, put some thread pipe locker on it, and then put that button up, and then start mocking up a cardboard cutout for a stencil for the aluminum sheet that we're going to put in there. I'm going to actually experiment with a bit of polish on this and just see how the aluminum turns out. Maybe you can get it nice shine. See if we can get this to shine nicely. Can't be having dull metal in the engine bay, especially when everything else is nice and polished and shone up. Curious to see how this turns out. There we go, that's much better. That looks much nicer. A little bit of Scotch-Brite on there and then some polish afterwards. That looks nice and clean. I feel like we can do a little bit better of a job though. Just when you think that you couldn't get any better, you can go that extra step and you get better results out of it. That looks good, I'm pretty happy with that. So let's go ahead and put it on the car. Add a little thread sealant to the port that we're gonna be using here. There is, believe it or not, a way that this goes on, so when you thread it in, it doesn't bind and get rid of the sealant. You take a socket and you push it down, and it gets all the thread sealant off of the part there, and you can start winding it in. Perfect. This tool I was telling you guys about earlier for clamps, if you ever get the chance to grab yourself one of these, definitely highly recommend it. Saves you from breaking your fingers all the time. Works really good. And the fact that it's flexible too, so you see. And now it's locked, you can hold it, you can leave it, you slide it over. Like that. So now that those clamps are on, I'm actually going to touch them up with some black touch-up paint, just so it kind of blends in a little bit better. It doesn't look like they're scratched up. But that fitting seems to be working out good, and then I just need to get a clamp for here. A little better with that touch-up now. Said I have to get a clamp for here, and then that's pretty well taken care of. It should be good. Now we're going to try and design something for a heat shield here, some cardboard for our stencil. So I'm going to pull this intake off here, try and bend something in the way here and make something out of it and see what we can come up with. So as you can see here, we got kind of a somewhat of a stencil made up here. I've marked in red where the folds are going to be in bends. So there's going to be a bend here as well. So it sits neutral and nice and level like that. I should be able to have enough room. I'll fill in that gap a little bit there with some rubber molding, and then I angled it as well so it seals against the hood. And then I put an angle down there, and there's lots of places to bolt it to along the frame here. So it kind of sits like that. And then that way now we have our stencil out. We're gonna grab a sheet of aluminum and make this heat shield. So I just got back from grabbing some aluminum. Actually, we ended up grabbing some steel here. It's pretty thin stuff. Try to be able to make a shield out of that. I'm gonna attempt to. If I can't, no big deal. It was only like $2 anyway. So I'm gonna attempt to do that. It might be easy to work with, or I might just end up going with aluminum, but that's okay. I'll make one of those, and then if that one doesn't turn out, then the next one that I make will be even better, and it'll look better and whatnot. So I'm gonna try to do that with the stencil that we made. I also picked up some coolant as well for the LS engine, and I picked up some trans fluid here from Nissan and some rear end fluid. So we're gonna be changing that today as well. This is what I've come up with the version 1 of this heat shield here. It doesn't look too bad actually. I put some loom around the hole where it comes out, and then I'll put some loom all the way around the top and then down here as well. And then obviously I'll paint it black, but as you can see, it's not too bad. It sits around, kind of cups around nicely there. And like I said, this will get all nicely sanded, and it'll bolt. There's actually a bolt right there where I drilled the hole. And then that keeps everything separated from the engine bay on this side. So the filter should be on this side. It shouldn't be too bad. I put an angle on it here for the hood, and then that should divide it nicely. After it's all painted black, it should look good. I'm gonna go ahead and paint that, and then put some loom on top of it and kind of get it in its final stages, and then bend it exactly where it needs to be after. So I went ahead and painted that heat shield. It's drying right now, and in the meantime, while it's drying, I'm gonna raise the car up, and then I'm gonna swap out these fluids like I had mentioned there before. Apparently, new grape scent. We'll put that to the test and give it a whiff when we get it up here. Okay, so it's pretty standard with these transmissions here. There's a fill plug on the side, and then there's a drain plug here. When you fill it up, you'll see it come out of the side of the plug, and then that's how you know it's full. Okay, so I have it open here, and they claim it smells like grape scent, but it just still smells like BO. Every time my rear end opens or anything, or like this here in the trans, it's gear oil, it just smells like onions or BO. That is the number one thing I think of when I smell this shit. Oh, does not smell good at all. Okay, now that it started coming into the side there, that's how you know it's full. So I cranked them down. Now we're gonna move on to the rear diff and exchange that fluid. It's kind of nice that Nissan actually did this, because a lot of companies and brands, they don't actually have a drain port on it. They only have a fill plug on it. So normally you have to take the whole cover off, drain it, reseal it, and then that's how you do your diff service. But with this way, we'll just drain it and fill it. We got a side port here and a drain port there. What I always like to do is, in this case, this car is very clean, so it doesn't really matter, but I always like to take the fill plug out first, because then that way you know you can get fluid back into it. Because if you take this out here and it comes out fine, and the fill plug strips or something, and you can't get that out, then you're stranded and you don't really want to be driving your car with no diff fluid in it. You'll explode the rear end. So I'm going to check the fill plug first, see if it cracks free. No problem. Now that that's free, I'm going to crack the bottom. One of the things that can be very handy to have is one of these suction vacuums. You hook it up to a compressed air, and you get your tube here. It can just pull any liquid into this container. You can empty it after. If it all doesn't drain out, I can actually use this and suck all the bottom out of the tray, and then that way we get our full potential of our diff service. now that all the fluids are exchanged out, I did the transmission as you saw there, the rear end. All those are swapped out and topped up. I can lower this thing down, and then we'll try and test fit that heat shield that I was talking about before for the intake. So here's the actual shield itself. Turned out really good. I painted it all up. I'm gonna put wire loom all the way around the edges so it tidies it up nice, and then we'll see how it fits. So I think this actually turned out really good. So I used that wire loom like I was telling you about all along the edges here and in where the filter is, and then the bolt lined up already where there was original bolt, and then there's some rubber grommets underneath there too as well, so it keeps it from vibrating, and it's rubber mounted, and that should keep the heat away from the filter. So that firewall there, and then it keeps away from the headers. Yeah, it doesn't even look that bad either, so it's pretty good. I might change it up a little bit later, but that's just something quick and easy to do. And I ordered a stubby blue filter that should fit right in here, no problem, because obviously, like I said, we can't be having the green with the blue and everything else. And with this, it's actually longer, so it won't fit where I have it adjusted, but we should be able to get a blue stubby on there. And then that should be pretty much it for the engine bay, other than the wiring harness. So that's going to be it for today's video. Just a few things on the 350, the fluid exchanges, the heat shield that I made, and going over a few other things. But as of for that, guys, stay tuned for the next one on this one. Hopefully the next video is the wiring harness showing up. If there's something else that goes on along with it beforehand, I'll definitely be sure to film it. But until next time, guys, see you later. Thanks for watching. Comment, like, and subscribe. Talk to you later.